Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stardust, the 3-day manifestation masterclass that is here to help you to align to the divine and to shift your reality. I'm so grateful that you're taking the time to join me for this. I'm really excited about all of the things that are about to come through. But I want to give you a few quick announcements first before we get right into it to make sure you get the absolute most out of this masterclass. First of all, the replays are going to be available for 5 days. So right after this class, I'm going to send out the replay and I'm going to do the same every day. I encourage you to spend the time rewatching the replay if you feel like it resonates or it's helpful for you. And those replays will be available for the 5-day time period. Also, there's going to be a Q&A. So you might have questions today, but for the sake of me getting through all of these notes, I'm going to kind of flow with it. I might take a couple questions at the end. But for the most part, we are going to save our questions for a special live Q&A I'm going to do to make sure that all of your questions around manifestation and any of the content we cover in Stardust are covered for you. Also want to let you know that closed captioning is available. If you're just coming in live, you can click the dots on the bottom and add that. And also the replays, when they are available, if you need to check them out, remember that those you can also watch them at 1.5 if you need to go a little bit faster. Okay. I really appreciate all of you being here live on the call. I do believe that the live energy that I'm going to actually be channeling through and bringing things based on the collective energy that we're all experiencing. Over 1,500 people have signed up for Stardust. So that means that you being here live is part of this big collective energy of us wanting to learn more about how to step into alignment. The alignment that I'm talking about here is about co-creating with the universal energies, understanding that we have a relationship and a connection to the universe. So that as we flow with these energies, we're able to understand more about manifestation that might go a little bit deeper than just our law of attraction or vision boarding or whatever that might be. Those can be really useful tools, but when you understand it at this depth, it allows you to actually look at some of the parts of your life that might not be in alignment, that you can bring into alignment to allow the shifts to occur in your reality. So a few things to let you know as well. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So a few things we're going to be covering. Psychology, we're going to be going into the depths of psychology, of understanding the mind. We're going to be talking about energy and energetic alignment. That's going to come more so in day 2. Day 3, we're also going to be talking about co-creation, alignment with the divine, and how to work with the energies in an even more embodied way to ensure that all aspects are able to be in harmony and energetic coherence and resonance to support your co-creation with the universe. The value of this masterclass, I really want you to get the absolute most out of it. There's also a cosmic creation play sheet, and Sarah's going to put the link for that in the comments below. If you haven't downloaded this yet, that's an opportunity for you to look at some of the things that are written that are going to allow you to consider what you're wanting to manifest in your life, why you want it in your life, and then to start asking the deeper questions. Because one of the issues around manifestation is that we don't actually diagnose what some of the issues might be around our subconscious belief patterns, our values, or how there may be a misalignment in action or in energy. So over the 3 days, we're going to start to pull some of that apart. If you want to get the most out of this, I encourage you to go through that play sheet. I use play sheet instead of worksheet, so it seemed more fun. Go through the play sheet. It'll allow you to really connect in with some things that might be relevant to you. And maybe you'll even have some insights. So if you're journaling, if you're considering these things, if you're sharing Stardust with a friend and maybe having a conversation about it, trust that there will be messages that come through specifically for you. On that note, I also want to acknowledge the fact that each person here, you have wisdom inside of you. You have life experience. You have perhaps experience across many different lifetimes, depending on what your belief system is. And you are actually, what I'm trying to do here is not so much just teach to you or share with you the things that I believe, but allow you to reflect on what feels most true for you. So there's going to be some things I share that'll really resonate and you'll be like, aha, that's for me. And there might be other things I say, you're like, that's not for me. So I invite you to receive what is and let go of the rest. I also invite you to empower yourself to know that you already have so many of these answers inside of you, and you are connected to the divine in whatever way you understand that to be. So my hope is that over the 3 days, you're going to understand more about that connection and how manifestation is more about co-creation than it is about sending out energy and trying to get what we want. It's about the energy of divine reciprocity and flow that allows us to receive so that we may give. On that note, it's really, really important right now, I believe, that we acknowledge some of what's happening in the world. It was so interesting, the timing of this masterclass. And sometimes when we are talking about spiritual things, there can be a tendency to spiritually bypass, or especially manifestation, where like, I have to focus on the good things. I have to like push away everything else that's happening in the world or in my life in order to focus on this. And unfortunately, we are not in a place where we've been developing the capacity to hold multiple things at once. So the first thing I want to do, especially with what's been happening in the world today, is to acknowledge that every person here, you might be having your own experience of that. Some of you might have family and friends affected. Some of you have been feeling deep hurt and pain at the news of what you've been hearing. And I spent some time in prayer this morning and the past couple days. And my wish for everyone is that we would be able to connect in with love and support for those who need it at this time. When there's such an amplification of hate, when there's such an amplification of pain in the world, then it's really important that we are also able to connect in with that love. So if you are hurting and knowing that the pain that's been happening in this world has been so intense for so many, I want to acknowledge those that are affected personally. I want to also acknowledge those that where you've had pains in your life where maybe people haven't spoken out about it. Maybe there's been things that have happened in your country or nation that no one said anything about. So we're now at a point where the collective consciousness and awareness of certain things in the world have come to the forefront. So there's an opportunity for us to not look away, but to also understand what our capacity might be in the moment. As we heal and grow, we have more capacity to hold ourselves and to hold others, to support others who are going through challenge and pain. And we also have more capacity to be able to notice what might be happening in the world. I want to encourage you to honor your individual capacity, especially if this is affecting your community personally. You might one day have capacity to hold space for someone else, and there might be another day where you don't have that capacity. So honoring where you're at and connecting in and asking for the support where you need it too. I also want to acknowledge that as we start to talk about manifestation, because again, a lot of manifestation teachings can be spiritually bypassing and can be like, oh, just focus on all these things. And a lot of people, it's easier to manifest when things in your life are going well. So acknowledging that fact means that some of us, it's an easier thing than others. If you're having challenges in your life, you're not stable in your housing, you're not able to pay your rent, you're not able to put food on the table, then it's going to be hard to think about some of the bigger manifestations of the dream job or the partner in your life. So one of the things we talk about is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a pyramid, and it shows that our needs for safety and security are paramount. Safety, security, and then we can have relationships and communication and love. And then at the top of that pyramid, there's more of the self-actualization stuff. My invitation to you is to be able to understand that you are a whole person having a whole experience, and that this pyramid doesn't, what I'm going to be teaching you the next few days, my hope is that it's going to help you no matter what you're experiencing in your life, because we're talking about aligning to the divine or connecting in with the energies of the universe. And I believe that the greatest universal truth is that of love. So connecting into love, connecting into that support in a time when things are going hard in your life, it doesn't mean that you pretend those hard things aren't happening. It means that you allow yourself to have an experience of both. And I believe that as we continue to grow in our healing and our consciousness, we increase that capacity to hold all those things. So as I'm talking about some of these things, We're going to be talking about joy and gratitude. We're going to be talking about, I'm going to tell you some amazing stories of things, and you're going to go, wow. And then for some people, because of what you're experiencing, you might also have other thoughts or experiences of the words that I speak or what's happening in the world. And again, it's just an invitation to hold yourself gently and to take what feels like it's resonant for you. And my prayer and my ask from Spirit is that what I bring brings clarity and also allows for people to find a deeper connection with their hearts at this time, because I believe so much of the pain that's happening in the world is because we've disconnected from our humanity, we've disconnected from love, we've disconnected from the oneness of all that we are. So I'm not going to get it all right. None of us can get it all right. We're all learning, we're all growing, but I'm going to be doing my best to honor all of those things as I teach you about this. The really interesting thing to me, and I can feel tears as I share, I never wanted to teach about manifestation. I had no interest in this because my fear, as Spirit's been working with me the last few years, and I've been teaching more of this sort of stuff, I love going deep, and I love really getting to the core of the issue, which is our heart connection with the everything. So when suddenly it happened about 6 months ago, I was in the shower and I heard a message, and they said, when I say they, I'm talking about the guides, the energies I work with. And they're like, you're going to teach a class called Stardust, and it's about manifestation. And I was like, I don't want to teach about manifestation. I have no interest in that. And I realize now, and I'm so glad I said yes, because I've learned how to hear that voice. I was afraid that manifestation, that me teaching about it, was going to mean that, a lot of people, we just want cars and like that sexy date and a nice house and all. Like, it can be really shallow in how we talk about it. It's not to say any of those things are wrong. It just means that we're missing the depth of what this life is actually about. And I realize now, this being the second time I've taught Stardust, now that I've embodied so much more of the energy, I'm going to tell you some stories that are going to blow your mind. Now that I've connected even more into my service and why I'm here teaching this stuff in the world, and now that I even look at the alignment of this class with some of what's happening in the world, I understand why they asked me, which is because true manifestation is deeper. It's about understanding the co-creation and the relationship with the energies of the universe. So I believe they've asked me to teach this because I'm going to give you some things that will allow you to go deeper in what you know manifestation to be, so that you can really begin to heal some of the deeper layers to allow you not just to shift your world, but to vibrate out to the rest of the world. It's my belief that as each one of us becomes more connected in with who we truly are in our relationship to the universe, and we heal ourselves enough to be able to care for our own selves, as my partner Maddie says, you put on your own mask first. As we do that work for ourselves, we can be part of the ripple effect in the world, which means we are more capable to be able to speak out about injustice. We are more capable to share our gifts without hesitation. We are more capable to love our neighbor. We are more capable to do all of those things when we've done this deeper work. So I think that part of why some of you might be in here for manifestation, you might be like, whoa, this is way deeper. I just kind of wanted a bit more money. That's okay. But hey, you know what? The money is gone when you die, and we're all going to die. So there's an opportunity to understand how to play with these energies of co-creation, to experience a life circumstance that might be different than what you're in right now, and to walk in deep soul satisfaction, knowing that you are aligned to the divine or to spirit or to God, whatever word that you use. So I really hope that you receive a lot out of this masterclass. Journal, write it down. The replays will be there for you. And I want you to understand the value of this, because I love doing free things because I invite people into my world. There's a lot of you I've never met before. Hello, I'm so glad to meet you. I'm so grateful you're here. And then there's some of you coming back. So you know that I love doing these free things. But I want you to understand that the value of this for me is connecting with so many of you. And some of you may choose to go deeper in working with me. And some of you, this may be the only time we meet, but I want to give you the absolute most I can to show you what is possible and to hopefully support you on your path through this lifetime. So with that, there's a couple other things. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think we're good. Yes, I think we're good. So manifestation is a matter of alignment. Alignment of energy, alignment of belief and thought, energy, action, and that when things are in alignment, so if we think of the word alignment, because it's a buzzword we hear a lot, I want you to think about the alignment of your spine at the chiropractor. When something's a little bit out, it doesn't feel good. But not only that, any chiropractor will tell you that that actually means the energetic impulse of the nerve impulse is also not working properly because there's an impingement on the nerve. So the energy isn't flowing, right? When things are in alignment, the energy can flow. When things are in alignment, things are as they should be. When things are in alignment, there's less pain. So we're going to be talking today about that alignment, and we're going to be talking about connection with our hearts. So I invite you here just to put your hand on your heart, because there were a lot of things I said there. I invite you to close your eyes and to take a few deep breaths. And to know that you're here for a reason. And that coming into greater alignment means coming into greater connection with your heart. Saying hello. Taking a deep breath in and exhale out. And when you exhale, you might choose to just release any tension, heaviness. And to acknowledge what you might be feeling. There can be a lot of different feelings all at once. And in this place, I invite you to connect in with your sense of higher self or the universe and just say hello. And just ask that what will come through in this masterclass that's meant for you, that you would be able to receive it. As I tell some stories, as there might be some thoughts or aha moments, as I tune into all of your energies and the energies of those on the replay, I ask that my words would be clear. And you can ask that you will be open to receive what is for you and release what is not. And with that, gently coming back. Good. Beautiful. All right. So, are we ready for some of the magic? Today, we are going to be talking about the foundations of manifestation. And we're going to be talking about some of those key aspects of alignment. And then we're going to really get into your mind. We're going to start here because there's a lot of things that happen at a subconscious level that are totally thwarting your manifestations and what you're desiring to bring into the world. So we're going to start here. Tomorrow, we're going to go more into energy. There's going to be some really powerful energetic stuff I'm going to share with you that'll blow your mind. And then day 3, we go more into all the alignment of all the things. But starting first with understanding that manifestation is a matter of alignment, of thought, belief, of energy, of action, and the coherence of energy. So the problem is that if we're starting first with thought and belief and the alignment needing to exist there, so many of us walk around without an awareness of our thoughts, without an awareness of our underlying beliefs or how they might be affecting us. Have you ever had that happen in your life where you have all of a sudden come into a realization, oh my gosh, I have that subconscious belief. It's affecting me all the time. I had no idea. And the more we go into some of the healing work, the more we bring in the light of awareness. And the awareness of our own thoughts that comes from the observer mind allows us to see and perceive. So even now, as we begin to talk about this, my invitation to you is to receive and get curious about your thoughts without judgment. Don't judge. Don't judge your thoughts, and don't get hard on yourself where you're like, oh man, my stinking thinking's ruining my life. Like, you don't need to get hard on yourself about it. We're bringing awareness to your thoughts. so you can change them. And I want you to also understand that your thoughts exist, and the way that our patterns of our brains work is because of the life experience we've had. So if we've had some really hard things in life, our brain is going to be telling us about a lot of the hard things that happen in our lives, right? Our brain and our ego works to protect us. So the thoughts at some point have served us in a really powerful way. So they're not bad or good, they just are. And your job today is going to be the observer of your thoughts. So I invite you just to be like, I'm going to look at my thoughts. I'm not going to judge them. Maybe you can even say that to yourself right now. I'm not going to judge what comes through. I'm just going to get curious. Anyone who's worked with me before, you know that wonder and curiosity is the things we like to work with the most. It does a couple things. It puts us in an alpha brain state of neutrality that allows us to see things a little bit differently. And it allows us to begin to perceive what is there and to make the change without attaching too much to it on either end. So we're going to share with you a little bit about that. And I'm really excited. First, I want to tell you a bit about me and about the way that I think. And I think I really believe manifestation has come easy to me for most of my life, to the point that my mother would say things like, everything just falls in your lap. Like, how did this happen again? And it's been everything from manifesting trips, like to Costa Rica twice, a competition I won, or different things like that, or a job opportunity, or a person, right? Many of you know that I've manifested my beautiful partner, Maddie. I'll tell you that story at another point. Those of you who were here for Stardust last round, you know about me manifesting a suit. You know about the manifestation of the home I'm in. You know about the manifestation of this fireplace that I'm looking at right now. You know about the magical ways that I've basically spoken or thought something and it's come into being almost immediately. And this has happened for almost my whole life. And tomorrow I'm going to give you some of the energetic keys around it, but I also believe that there's keys in the mind. And one of the keys in my mind is that I look at everything with that wonder, that lens of wonder, that lens of gratitude, like, wow, this is amazing, right? And even when I look at a flower, I look at a flower bloom. That is a wonderful, magical thing. And can we allow ourselves to look at a flower blooming with the same wonder and gratitude that we can for the big manifestation we desire? Because part of it is understanding that the magic in the little things and our understanding of that little thing and how that's a miracle in itself. Think of all the things that made that flower come into being, how the universe somehow constructed this flower that would then bloom out of the ground. Once we understand how to connect in with that magic, we can learn to be amazed and grateful at all the small things. So for me as a little girl, I was amazed at those things in the garden. When I was little, I used to spend so much time in the backyard with the bugs. They were like little universes in themselves. And I always had a connection with spirit in whatever way. I always knew that there was a God or spirit, whatever word you use. And I used to say very strange things as a child that would freak my parents out, being brought up in a non-religious home, but we'd drive by and I'd be like, that's my church. And they're like, we don't go to church. What's she talking about? But I had all these things in my mind that I believe might have been previous lifetimes where I had this real connection with the universal energy. Then I had a period of time where I was in a church when I lived in Australia, and I was speaking and teaching and leading worship on Sunday mornings. And that was a place that I could share about these things. But then when I left the church, because it wasn't in full alignment of my values, I ended up going through this full energetic and Kundalini awakening, opening up my channels, opening up my perception. And now I receive messages through spirit in so many different ways. And I feel like now the energetic ways that I work, although I've always been able to manifest, or I've always had blessings or whatever you call it, they happen in my life all the time. Now it feels like I'm even more fine-tuned with that energy. But it started in my thoughts too. My background is in psychology. I have my master's in public health as well. The reason I share these things because those 2 degrees help me to see things in both a linear way in constructs and to understand that there's different frameworks of how the human mind works that allows us. The framework's not meant to, and sometimes this is what happens, we get stuck in the box. Remember, the box is just the box. The lattice work is not the plant, right? These are containers for concepts that are actually bigger than the container. But when we understand a bit of the framework of container, it gives us what we would call a schema to be able to apply it to other things. So today, as I teach you about psychology, you're going to be like, aha, this makes sense in my mind. I understand. So my work now, for those who are just getting to know me, I'm a spiritual mentor. I'm an intuitive channel. The other thing I might say I am is a medicine woman. The reason we use that word, it's to talk about working with energies. So in the unseen realm, when I work with those energies, I have to understand that I do so from a neutral mind. Anybody who's done meditation, the more neutral you can be in the mind, the more you understand you can work and manipulate with the energies, right? So I'm going to be showing you that as we go. But when we start with the mind, I want you to think about first how gratitude is an absolute key, because it can be one of the first things that begins to shift the mind. Gratitude is a gateway to your manifestation. So I want you to think about something you're grateful for right now. And maybe pop it in the chat so you can share it with others. What's something you're grateful for? Just taking a look at the chat. Oh, yeah. My puppy, my daughter, my family, really old trees, my partner, all these beautiful things. Awesome. Keep going. My home, my food, the food on my plate. Awesome. Okay. So I want you right now, as you're writing those in, what you're grateful for, I want you to sit and I want you to really feel the gratitude. Can you feel the gratitude beyond just thinking about it? And I want you now to even consider, in a childlike way, how would 5-year-old you feel about that thing? Can you feel even more gratitude like a child? Wow. Now, if it's something that's come into your life, I want you to think about the gratitude you felt when it first arrived. So if it's your partner, when you first fell in love, I want you to feel that gratitude. If it's the food on your plate, I want you to remember what the gratitude was like after you fasted for 3 days. If it's the job, what was that excitement getting into the new job? Can you feel it? If it's coffee, I saw that one. You are someone after my heart. Imagine that first cup when you haven't had it for a couple days. Ooh. Sometimes, like coffee, we are feeling relief instead of true gratitude because there's a pain that has been addressed. But gratitude allows us to flip the script and to focus on the thing we're grateful for. So as you feel it, as you amplify it, can you feel that energy shift? Okay. This is even something as you're navigating some of the really hard things that might be happening in your world or in your life. Give yourself permission to have gratitude for what is in your life or what you are grateful for, so that in those times when things feel really hard and constricted and down, you're able to give yourself also the balanced experience and the other effect of, I am so grateful, right? And as we amplify the gratitude from that childlike place, let me tell you that it is an absolute key for manifestation. For me, my partner, Maddie, calls me Elf. Elf, like Will Ferrell's character from the movie, because I will sometimes walk around with so much excitement and gratitude that people think I'm faking. But I'm totally real. I can be so excited about certain things. It's like the wonder. Sometimes it's also because I've forgotten certain things that exist. And then I see them again. I'm like, oh, there you are. How wonderful you're in my life. For those who were on Stardust last time, I had just recently found out of my own neurodivergence, or that I had been living with ADHD for 40 years without knowing it. And I've realized that some of these things are an actual gift, like forgetting and then remembering, because then I get to be grateful again, right? and to maybe not get down on myself about not doing laundry for a couple of weeks. But our gratitude amplifies our experience, and it's from that gratitude that we can manifest more easily. So I have manifested so many things in my life, but right now I'm going to tell you about manifesting from gratitude. I have two really, really powerful stories. So the first one, and it's recent. These are things that just happened. Some of you might have heard me share these on the lives. So I was recently in our car, and the car itself is a manifestation. I'm going to share about that on day 3. But I was in the car, and in that moment, I could feel the energy shift. It was all of a sudden like it expanded in my heart. And I said, Maddie, I said, let's take an opportunity here. In that elf-like persona, I was like, let's give gratitude for this. Look at us. We're driving. For 3 years, we wanted to drive places, and now we can. Like, this is amazing. And we were driving, and it was like an open field, and I could see the grass, and I was amplifying. I said, okay. And I said to him, let's manifest something. And I was like, I have so much gratitude right now. From this place of gratitude, let's feel the gratitude. And I said to him, I was like, you know what? Because we were driving back from a retreat. I was like, I can't wait for the day that someone decides to fly us somewhere amazing in the world, and that we can do this work and bring our service to an incredible place, a beautiful place, and that they pay for our plane tickets. It's all taken care of, and we get to go and travel and bring this medicine to the world. So I was just feeling it, and then I let it go. And then 2 weeks later, I received an invitation from someone who had been in my course, The Golden Path. Some of you might have seen this on my Instagram. She invited me, her name's Randy, and she invited Maddie and I down to a place called Gold Mountain in Colorado. And she invited us to this mountaintop where we stayed in this beautiful house for 4 days, and we did some really deep inner healing work. And in this place, as we were experiencing all that, like, we got to experience the magic of the land, but we got to bring our service there. And I couldn't believe it happened so quickly. Oh, Mandy, that was your best friend? So it happened so quickly, and it happened just the way I had asked. Randy flew us down, we did the work, and it was within 2 weeks that was booked. And it blew my mind. And I had said to people at the time, if you ever want to vision, you can vision from that mountaintop. And there I was on the mountaintop visioning. So all of a sudden, it wasn't that people were like, oh, did you manifest Colorado? You said you wanted to go to Gold Mountain. I was like, no, I was manifesting the experience and the feeling, and I wasn't clearly defining or hemming in what it had to be. And that's one of the problems with our manifestations too, is we are trying to manifest something that has a very narrow outcome. Because I could have said, I want to manifest going to Greece, or I want to manifest going to this mountaintop in Banff. And then when the manifestation comes, I don't recognize it, or it doesn't actually have the energetic resonance to come at all. So the openness, there's a couple things to learn there. Gratitude, the amplification of the energy, real gratitude, really feeling it. And then I was in that moment of feeling the energetic frequency of, wow, I can't wait until someone flies us somewhere to have this incredible experience in a beautiful place so we can bring our service. And 2 weeks later, it came. I knew as soon as that invitation came that that was the fulfillment of the manifestation. So I said, yes. Now get this. I was on the plane to Gold Mountain. And just like when I was in the car, I was on the plane and I could feel, I felt the elf energy. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. I said to Maddie, I'm so excited about the next places we're going to go. Let us manifest. I wonder where else, and I love that word, I wonder where else in the world we might get to bring this work. So I'm on the plane to Gold Mountain. I'm flipping through the United Airways magazine, and I see a picture of Tuscany. And all I did, I was in that energy. I went, I would love to go to Tuscany one day. The very next morning, less than 24 hours later, I'm going to actually read you the message I got. I got a message in my inbox from someone who did Stardust last round. Her name's Nicole. And the message I received from Nicole, we haven't messaged since back in May. She messaged me in May saying, I love Stardust, da, da, da. The very next day, 8:30 in the morning, less than 24 hours. Dear Audra, I can't speak enough about how you helped me walk my path and feel confident in myself. Thanks also to your support and guidance, I have recently landed my dream job managing a retreat center nestled in the Tuscan hills. I wanted to share with you our Instagram, Ebio Tuscany. And if you were ever interested in hosting a retreat here in Italy, I'd be happy to share some further information with you. Thank you for all you do. In loving gratitude, Nicole. Less than 24 hours. Very specific. I'm getting shivers even as I'm talking about this, because there was part of me, you can see how I'm smiling, where I still almost don't believe it. There's things that happen in my life and manifest. I'm like, wow, did that actually happen? So for those interested, I'm having a call with Nicole right after Stardust is over, and we are planning the retreat, because here's the other thing that's an important principle that you might want to write down, is when something shows up that looks like your manifestation, or you're sure it's your manifestation, it's important that you take action on it. So part of me could have been like, oh, I don't know, like maybe next year, maybe now's not the time. But the universe is moving so quick in my life and the energy is here. And I said Tuscany and the next day it's there. So I realized that perhaps if I want to continue this co-creative flow, in understanding that all of this manifestation is actually my service to the world going out, then I have a responsibility to respond to the manifestation when it comes. And to say, thank you. Thank you. Wow. Okay, let's do it. And then work out how it's going to happen. So in May 2024, if you're interested, the link is, or if you go to my Instagram, you'll see an instant story of manifestation. It's all about there, but we will be booking the retreat probably for May. So as we're doing that, there's two principles. One is act on your manifestation when it comes. And even as you're in this process of beginning to manifest, start taking those actions. We're going to talk more about actions on day 3, but start taking the aligned actions. But when it's there, receive it. Receive it. It might not be perfect, but remember that we're working with the energy of divine reciprocity, which means that when you say to spirit or to the universe, this is what I'm manifesting, and it comes, do something with that. Don't just be like, oh, that's nice. Cool. Look, I manifested that. And then you do nothing. So I want you to imagine, and we'll talk more tomorrow about the relational energy of the universe. But if someone gave you a gift, if you're like, oh, I really need like a sweater. It's getting cold. It's winter. And the gift arrives to your doorstep and you open it and out is this sweater and you're like, it's not my color. No, thank you. We do that all the time. We receive the thing that we say we desire to manifest, and then we're like, no, return to sender. And the universe might be like a bit confused, like, hey. So that's where, again, we, one, amplify our gratitude, receive it, even if it means sometimes it's not exactly right. We can receive it and we can be like, ah, yeah, okay, thank you. All right, maybe next time this is what's going to look like, but we still can have gratitude for the moment. This is particularly important as well. Some of you are wanting to manifest relationships. What I'm saying here is not to take everything that walks through the door. You have to have discernment. But when it's time to let a relationship go, you can have gratitude that maybe that was actually part of your chapter, part of your healing, part of your learning. And now you're becoming more clear about who you are, what you truly want, how you truly want to be treated. And then you can put it back out to the universe and say, yes. And now let's work together to go a little bit more aligned in what I know is true for me. And on day 3, we're going to talk about the alignment and how to be the energetic match for that manifestation. Just want to write that down. So here's what I'd like to ask you. What do you want to manifest? You might have already worked on the Cosmic Creation Play Sheet. If you haven't, Sarah might pop that in the chat again. You don't need to do it now. It's something you can do later. But what do you want to manifest? And I invite you, if you want, you can pop it in the chat. What are you manifesting? A lot of people, there was a giveaway post on my Instagram, and people were putting there what they're manifesting as well, which I think is quite amazing. But I just want you to think, I'll bring it up for your own exercise of this practice. What are you manifesting? What do you really, really want? We have everything here from career, job, health, debt-free, partner, dream job. New vocation as a healer and coach, job in Europe, overseas move, love, family, alignment and abundance, baby daddy, spiritual clarity, to sell my restaurant, connection to guides. Okay, all of these things. So keep writing, keep going. I want you just to speak out what that manifestation is. Awesome. Got it. Beautiful. Love these. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So once you get clear on what you want to manifest, now this is something you can put them in the chat, or if you want, you can just write it in your journal. Even one word at a time can help. What do you want to manifest? And now write a few of the details of what that involves. You don't have to, I just want one word type, like, okay, so like, for example, some of you who are manifesting a career, you wanted a career change. It actually means, like, if you're as a coach, there's someone here who said they want to have a career as a coach. What does that involve? What that involves, like working on my own, being an entrepreneur. That involves making money based on my service. That involves, what does it involve? If you're manifesting a partner, what does it involve? Does it involve cohabiting in a house? Does it involve children or family? What are the things that could possibly involve? And write around it to allow yourself to highlight the aspects of that manifestation, knowing it might look different. So we're not like, that involves me moving to this city at this time and do it. It might just be like, it involves a change in my location. So write those things out. Okay. Now, and if this goes fast, remember, you're going to have the replays. So if you want to go deeper on this or any other manifestation, you can have the replay and you can hit pause, right? And go deep on it if you want. But right now, what do you want to manifest? What does it involve? What are the aspects of it? Now I want you to consider what changes in your world when it arrives, right? What would change? And this is a good one that if you do have a chance at some point to spend more time, this is a good one to spend time on, because sometimes what we think we want to manifest, we're actually resisting the manifestation because of the safety of the time that we're in right now. So for me, when I took the leap and went full time into this work, I had to let go of another job, and letting go of that job meant letting go of security. It meant letting go of all the people I loved working with there. At the time, I was working around reconciliation initiatives, Indigenous issues. It went actually stepping away from focusing my service on that, although it's now a very big part of what I do. But you have to understand what's going to change in your world for the better and what's also going to be the challenge. Okay, next question. What are the themes of the thing you want? Is it love? Is it money? Is it freedom? I want you to think big themes. Big themes. So like the themes might identify some of the bigger picture things that you want in your life. So if it's love, family, connection, partnership, security, safety, freedom, travel, whatever it is. So just write some of those words. And I would love to see some of these words in the chat as well. Career, purpose, health and money, exploration, acknowledgement, connection, money flow. If these are in the chat, it's going to help me with the next part for you. Okay. Travel. Seamless ambition, being of service, freedom of service, no fear, connection, freedom, peace of mind, life of joy and ease, music, money, love, increased self-confidence, purpose, travel. Got it, got it, got it. Sweet. Love these. Thank you. All right. So as you're putting it in there, I want you to consider this. What are your beliefs about the thing you want to manifest? What are your beliefs about the thing you want to manifest? Your true belief. Here's an example. If you want money, what are some of the beliefs that you have about money? Oh, money doesn't grow on trees. Oh, money's hard to come by. What are some of the stories that you were told in your younger years or things that you've experienced in life about that thing? Oh, money's hard. If you have money, you have to give it to everyone else. We never have enough money, right? I'll never have enough. I'm not trustworthy with money. There's some in there, right? Right? The industry doesn't pay you well. You'll always struggle financially. Creative jobs aren't secure. I'm not deserving. I'm not good with money, right? Money is evil. Okay, so now let's go. I get so many shivers as I'm talking here. Let's go a little deeper. What do you think or believe about people who have the thing you want to manifest? If you want money, what do you believe about people with money? If you want to travel, how do you feel when you see someone else post their travel videos? If you want love, what do you believe about love? Oh, it comes easy to everyone but me. No one wants to be with me. If you want freedom, what are your beliefs about people who have freedom? And again, remember that we're observing our beliefs, we're observing our mind. We're not here to change anything right now. We're here just to notice. And we're not here to condemn the belief itself either. It's again, curiosity and wonder. I wonder what I think about that thing. What's my real belief, right? So right now we are getting to a point of getting underneath, right? What's looking under the hood of your subconscious? Afraid of success. Oh, someone said, oof, this is so good. I feel envy. The must be nice feels out of reach. You might feel jealousy. They have more talent than me, right? They're lucky, they're worthy, they're smarter. They're selfish, right? Even when I told you the story about Gold Mountain or about Tuscany, you're like, oh, it must be nice, right? There might be different feelings, and none of these things are bad in themselves. It's about the awareness of it. Because the awareness of your own judgment on yourself or on others will be one of the things you can heal, you can deal with, that will allow you to manifest. Because all of these things we're talking about here, think about how this is impacting your manifestation. Is this in alignment? Look at what you believe. Is that in alignment with the thing you want to come into your life? Truly. If you believe people with money are greedy or selfish, and you're like, but I'm not greedy and selfish, well, then you can't have money. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is this hitting? Is this working? Right? Deeper? This is deep. This is the good stuff. And this doesn't mean, again, we don't have to change everything right now. We're just being aware of it. Awareness is key. And right now, even right now, one of the best things you can do, that gratitude. Wow, I'm so grateful that I've become aware of this in this moment. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Right? Can we be grateful that we're developing more awareness about these things? Yes. Yes. I want you to take a couple deep breaths here and just let yourself sit in what's coming through right now and just land with it for a moment. Hmm. Beautiful. All right. So what we're really talking about here is a concept called cognitive dissonance. So in psychology, cognitive dissonance, when I talk about energy, I'm talking about resonance. Do you know what I mean when I say resonance of energy? Are there any musicians in the room? When something is resonant, when there's a resonant frequency, oh, I see you. I see those waves. When there's a resonant frequency, you're going to allow for those frequencies to align. There's an alignment of the energy, right? There's a resonance. We might talk a bit more the musical aspect of it tomorrow because it deals with energy itself. Dissonance is when something doesn't match. It kind of does this instead of this, right? So the dissonance of our cognition, our cognitive dissonance is in psychology. That's when our belief, when two beliefs don't match, when our belief and the evidence in front of us doesn't match, when our belief and our actions don't match, when these things don't match, it creates a great level of discomfort in the self. And our response to the discomfort is one of a couple things: to ignore it and to bury it. And that's what happens with the subconscious mind. We pretend we don't even really have certain beliefs. We just kind of act out of them. So we don't want to say, I want money, but I believe people with money are bad. And so we just kind of like ignore that that's our underlying belief. We just let ourselves be jealous and project and hate everybody with money or whatever it is, right? So there's kind of that dissonance. When it comes into awareness, or even just at a subconscious level where you're not perceiving it, what happens is the dissonance between the belief that people with money are bad and the belief that I'm not a bad person. Well, therefore, that equation you just made says that I can't have money. People with money are bad. I am a good person, not a bad person. Therefore, I am not allowed to have money because that doesn't work out in my equation. Again, the awareness of our judgment and thoughts. So when we have the dissonance, we will respond by creating the harmony once again. So the harmony that you're creating, the resonance you're creating, is to not let that thing come into your life. Because if you really believe that people with money are bad people and money came into your life, it would cause some discomfort inside of you. Am I a bad person? Do you see what I mean? So this is why when we're doing manifestation work, it's actually deeper inner healing work. Inner healing of our stories, about our experiences of the world, of our perceptions about the things we desire, about what's happening in our life or what isn't happening in our life. The other thing I'm hearing is also understanding our locus of control, the things that we can control versus the things that are actually beyond our control. All of these aspects, there's an interplay. So when there's a cognitive dissonance between a belief and the thing we want to manifest, it's not going to come into our life because it's going to rock our world too much. We have to address the underlying belief. So I encourage you with this masterclass, take some time, watch this again, journal it, like journal on all the different belief systems, all the different things that you want to manifest in your life. Get clear on what are some of the stories underneath it, right? So that you can begin to heal. So the power of the mind, here's the cool thing, is that you can actually use your mind and use how the human mind works for your benefit. You don't have to just see like, oh man, this is all hard, like everything sucks. You can actually use this for your benefit. And I'm going to show you how. It's what we call flipping the script. It means that what we're going to do is, instead of actually just having the mind work the way it does, we're going to understand the mind, and then we're going to actually use it to our advantage. So one of the ways to do that is that if you notice cognitive dissonance, you heal that part and you start to allow, even if there's part of you that still believes, I keep using, it's just such a simple example, so please forgive me for using this one too much, but if you believe people with money are bad, it's just like entering into the curiosity of, where in my life have I actually seen that there's evidence of the opposite of that belief. Because sometimes the evidence of the opposite is actually like, no, I actually know that person. They have money. They do some really good things. What's the truth about that person? Well, that person, I actually kind of wish that person had more money because they know what to do with it. I wish they had more money than that guy. Right? It's like, oh, wait a minute. I'm actually, this thinking is not totally right. So we're going to heal that part. But understanding all of this, I'm now going to take you into something that we call cognitive distortions. Again, this is a psychological principle of certain types of thought. This is used in CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, quite a lot, of understanding how certain thought patterns and conditioning of way we see the world. So this is actually the lens of your worldview and how you see the world. And we're going to address some of these. So it's going to allow you to flip the script to understand that these are some of the patterns of thought, because the way this pattern is showing up on the one manifestation, chances are it's actually showing up in a whole bunch of places in your life. And it's not just affecting your ability to co-create with the universe, it's also affecting your day-to-day experience of the world. So let's dive into some of that. Let's take a deep breath here. Can we do a little shake? I know it's a lot of stuff, right? I'm trying to give you as much as I can in these 3 days that you can really receive and change something in your world. So, all right. So cognitive distortions, these are conditioned patterns of thought of how you see the world. The important thing, just like what I talked about earlier, is becoming the observer so you can look at them and be like, ah, that's interesting. I think like that quite a lot. Okay, so we're going to get curious about this as we go. The first is all or nothing thinking, what some people call black and white thinking. So that's very the duality, black and white, good or bad. This is not to say that we don't acknowledge things for what they are. It's to understand that quite often there is more nuance, and our brain naturally wants to go black and white because it's easier. It doesn't take so much mental work. So when we go black or white thinking, when we start to raise our consciousness and we start to doing our healing work, sometimes it increases our capacity. It opens our cup to be able to hold more. So we can hold nuance in conversation. We can also hold nuance in our own thoughts, but only if we're aware of them. So where in your life are you doing black and white thinking? Here's an example of it. If I'm not perfect, I failed. Where are the perfectionists in the room? If I don't do this perfectly, I've failed and everything's awful. Sometimes that comes up even in relational perfectionism, right? I see those hands. Thank you. Yeah, the perfectionism for me, that's a big one. And the all or nothing is like, it's either needs to be perfect or it needs to be just not happening at all. So then that leads to all sorts of procrastination. It leads to all sorts of things, right? But the black and white thinking also has us thinking about things in our world around manifestation. If it doesn't look like this, it's not true. I'm not deserving of that, whatever it might be. Okay. So the way to flip the script on the black and white thinking, on the all or nothing, if that happens for you, which can also be polarized thinking, is wonder and curiosity and understanding of the fact that there's nuance, even in the way the energies of the universe work. So when I work with those energies, I get curious. I don't see everything as good or bad, even when I'm working in psychic or spiritual realms. When I was in the church, and, I honor everybody's faith background and tradition, what you know, but I know that when I was in the experience of the church, there was very much the dichotomy, good, bad in spirit. And the things I've come to understand is that a lot of the things we would condemn as the dark are our teachers. Just like a lot of the pains that we experience in our life, they're not inherently bad. It's an experience that is allowing me to learn more about myself or to heal, right? Because when we condemn something as bad, we then avoid it at all costs, as opposed to being curious. And that's what we talk about when we're doing shadow work, right? A lot of you have done some shadow work. It's befriending the shadow. It's embracing that part of yourself and realizing that there's a teacher in there. And that when you flip the script on the shadow, it might actually be your biggest strength and gift. And you can receive that if you're willing to not have the black and white thinking. Another type of thinking is overgeneralization. So this is where your words really matter. Everything is always awful. Nothing good ever happens to me. Are you noticing those words? Everything, always, never, right? It's very absolute, those statements. And let me tell you, words have vibration. Your words are spells. You're speaking out words like that. Really watch yourself on this, especially with manifestation. Because when you're speaking that out, the universe is going, oh, okay, well, can't help you there, kiddo. Right? So speak out things that allow for the nuance even in your own speech. Instead of everything's always awful, it's like, this is a really challenging experience right now. Right? You can acknowledge it. It's you're having whatever the experience is, but it's not everything. And it's not always. So flipping the script on that allows for, again, the nuance. Another thing we do in cognitive distortions is mental filter or disqualify the positive. Now, this is a fun one, okay? Because once you notice you do this, you can flip the script and do the opposite for your favor. This is an example of how you can use your brain for good to actually help you manifest. So a mental filter is like you're only paying attention to certain evidence. And again, the human brain is really, really incredible and evolved in how it does this. Because can you imagine if every single thing that came into your field you had to process for the first time as though you had never seen it before? Oh, dog, what's that? Animal, 4 legs, teeth. Oh, will it bite me? I don't know. It's like, oh, dog, friendly dog, wagging tail, cool. If I say the word dog, what image comes to your mind right now? Some of you will see a white dog. Some of you will see your dog. Some of you will see there's cognitive schemas, which are structures of thought that present us an idea that allows us not to have to work so hard in the brain. Because every time I say dog, you already have a mental representation of what that is, right? The problem is when it goes to mental filtering and disqualifying the positive, is we only pay attention to certain dogs. We only pay attention to certain things. So only certain evidence. So for example, disqualifying the positive would be saying that something doesn't count. This can happen, especially those people where you might have issues with self-esteem or self-love. Someone gives you a compliment. Oh, it's, this dress, oh, whatever. It's just like I found it on the ground. Someone says, you did a really great job at that thing at work. It wasn't a big deal. Right? So when we do it in those places, we sometimes also do that because our underlying belief about our relationship with the universe is also at that level. Because if you don't have self-love, how are you going to allow yourself to connect in with the love of the everything? Because you are the everything, right? This is the deeper truth. When we know who we truly are, we can operate differently. It shifts how we walk through this world. So when I disqualify the positive things about myself, chances are I'm also going to disqualify the gift from the universe when it comes through as a manifestation. You hear what I'm saying? Because if nothing good ever happens to me, or if, I'm not able to receive the gift of a compliment, then chances are you're disqualifying the positive. So I'm going to give you a little tip on how to start shifting this in your life right now. I want you to start accepting compliments. Start accepting when someone gives you a compliment, just simply say, thank you, I received that. And it does a couple things. It allows you to stop disqualifying the positive about yourself. And it also does something energetically in the energy of reciprocity, because you have to be able to receive the gift of that connection with someone else giving you the gift of a compliment It allows you to start to learn how to receive the gifts from the universe, because the gift from the universe very much has a similar frequency and energy, which is something that you're not even sure you deserve. Because manifestation from I deserve this is not the most aligned way to manifest. Manifestation from accepting a gift is a much more aligned way. It's a higher vibration. It's a way of saying, thank you. I received that gift and I want to give to others. Do you see the difference even in how I speak of that? It's not like I deserve this, I am worthy of this. It's like, I am love. I am loved. I receive love. I give love. And all of that is the energy we flow with, right? Do we understand? Yeah. Another thing that happens with mental filter and disqualifying the positive is when we start using that gift of gratitude as our gateway, when we work with gratitude, then we can start to allow ourselves to see more positive things. So instead of the mental filter that sees only the negative, right? Some people here, you might identify as a pessimist and you're like, look, everything, I can see it. You might have that really annoying person in your world who's a bit like me, who's the elf that's like, everything's awesome. And you're like, this isn't awesome, right? Again, all of these things can be experienced at once. But you can start using gratitude to start recognizing more of what's there, because the human mind, the mental filter that filters out some other things to make it easier on our mind, can also be used to see more of what we desire. If you've ever had the experience where you wanted to get a new car and you're like, you know what, I'd really like, I'm just going to pick something random, a red Ford Focus. I don't know. Suddenly on the road, you see all sorts of red cars, all sorts of red Ford Focus. We bought a new car. Well, not a new to us car. We bought a car. All of a sudden, I saw 100 of those cars on the road. I had never noticed them before, but my awareness was there. Does it mean there were more cars on the road? Probably not. It just means that I've all of a sudden become aware to it. So with gratitude, you can do the same thing where all of a sudden your awareness of that is opening up your vision to something that exists on a quantum timeline, which we'll talk about later, but something that exists that you can connect to the energy and vibration of. Okay, does this make sense? Okay, so when you're connecting in, so when you think of something you're grateful for, you're going to see more things you're grateful for. You're going to start to learn to rewire your mind for gratitude. And when you see something you're grateful for that is in the future of your manifestation, you will also begin to notice it more. So your challenge here is that the thing you're wanting to manifest, I want you to start noticing it in the world around you and celebrate it every time you see it. Celebrate that person getting their dream job. Yes, I'm so happy for you. Celebrate that person in love. Oh, I love this love. I can't wait till the day I experience love like that too. Celebrate the person who got a promotion at work. Amazing. That's so good. What are you going to do now? You have a bit more financial freedom. You're going to travel. I'm so excited for you. Send me some photos. And if you can't do that from an authentic, genuine place, that's okay. This is not asking you to fake it. It's asking you to keep doing the healing work so you can actually be in the gratitude state. Because again, you're matching the energetic frequency of the vibration of that thing you desire. And you're not doing it out of, I'm trying to just manipulate the energy because I want this thing. It's like, how cool is it when people actually celebrate us? How cool is that? And one thing I've come to realize in this world is that we don't do that enough. There was a channel. I was at the Gaia Channeling Conference recently, and one of the transmissions that came through one of the channels said that celebration is the highest frequency. You know, we think of it as love or joy, but what they said is celebration is the highest frequency, because it includes love, joy, and gratitude and all that more, and wanting to share it with others. So celebrate others, celebrate yourself, celebrate, and allow that energy to amplify. Couple more cognitive distortions, and then I know we're getting towards the end, so we will be wrapping up. Jumping to conclusions. This is a good one. Who does this? Oh, me. When there's something that comes up and you're like, well, something hasn't even happened. So there's two ways this can happen. Jumping to conclusions either happens in mind reading or in fortune telling. Okay, let's start with mind reading. So when I first started my healing journey, I went through a really major depression years ago. I was in a really unhealthy marriage. There were a lot of unhealthy codependent patterns. There was all sorts of things I was experiencing in my life in Australia, and I was totally disconnected from myself. And in that disconnection of self, which was a self-preservation tactic because of what I was experiencing in my home, I disconnected from my own needs. I disconnected from my heart. I disconnected from so many things in myself in order to try to keep things nice so my home would be a safe place for me. When I started going to counseling, I didn't realize how much of my mind had been caught up in these ways of thinking where I would jump to conclusions or mind read because I was trying to keep myself safe. So because I'd see one action or behavior, I would assume not just the people where there was any risk to me, but I would assume everyone was thinking something. Oh, they're thinking the worst of me. Or, oh, they didn't text me back. Oh, like, what do we think? What do we jump to conclusions with that? Well, they don't care about me, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Something happens and we assume we know what's happening in somebody else's mind. Jumping to conclusions in the form of mind reading can cause a lot of suffering. And it also disrupts communication because we assume we know what's going on in someone else's head. And I don't care if you're the best psychic in the world. Try not to do that. I can't possibly know what's going on in the mind of my partner, even though I know him so intimately. So you know what I do? I ask. I get curious without judgment. If something's coming up for me and I'm jumping to a conclusion, I go, whoa, hold on a second. When I was in counseling, the psychologist I was working with or counselor at the time, she said something really cool. She actually said to me, she said, what's the hard evidence of this situation? What's the objective evidence? And I was like, so let's take the example. Okay, like if I was to write a scientific paper about this, or if there was a narrator of the story not emotionally involved, what would they say? They would say, Audra sent text message at 8:32 a.m., one full day passed, text message not responded to, did not receive text message in return. There's 100 things that could be going on in that other person's world. There's 100 things that could be going on my mobile network, let's be honest. There's 100 things that could be happening, but I'm deciding to choose to project my own thought of what's happening in someone else's mind. Do you see how unhelpful that is? There's a great book called The 4 Agreements. And The 4 Agreements talks about don't take anything personally. Because even when someone does something that hurts you, even if it seems like it's intentional, it's not actually about you. It's not about you. And again, being the observer, we're able to be more cognizant of this fact. Now, the next type of jumping to conclusions is fortune telling, predicting the future. Now, again, you could be the most gifted psychic. I work with these energies a lot. And what they say to me often is they actually won't predict the future because they explain that there's multiple timelines. They might show probability. A lot of you have come here from Chris Corsini, right? We read tarot cards, we connect in with the energies. But what's really showing you is kind of a map of the energy of that particular moment and potential probabilities. It's not saying that that's exactly what's going to happen, because what it might be doing is bringing something to the light of your awareness so you can make a change. So the fortune telling that's saying, I know what's going to happen in the future, our brain does this again in order to protect us and in order to make things safe, in order to make things easier so we don't have to think so hard. is we go, well, this happened, so therefore this is the result. But if it hasn't actually happened yet, the gift of suspending judgment can do so much for us. So pay attention to where you might be fortune telling in your life. And we do it both in positive and negative. One of the ways of flipping the script on this is to look at your deeper values. Deeper values. I'm talking about your worldview values of the world. And like all of these things have to do, when you start addressing your deeper values, your deeper relationship to the universe, your deeper relationship to self, you can start kind of getting really clear on these next steps of what needs to heal so that you're not doing these maladaptive, unhealthy thought patterns. So my fortune telling now, where I have an inner knowing and belief, is not about the circumstances of the world, of my world, of the experience. It's about the deeper values and beliefs that I hold, right? Which is that all things are working out for the highest and greatest good, right? I am on a path of healing and evolution. These are bigger things that we can anchor into. Love is the greatest truth. Whatever it might be that you're finding where you're like, I'm trying to anchor into something, you can hold that even when there's different evidence, but it's allowing you to understand that you don't need to jump to any sort of conclusion in order to be in that space of manifestation. Just a couple more. Magnification, which is catastrophizing. Catastrophizing? Did I say that right? Magnification. We amplify certain things because we see, and that's similar to what was the other one, like the mental filter, but we'll actually amplify. So if you do something really good and you do something really bad, we will sometimes amplify the bad thing. I do this a lot. I've been learning about ADHD. And again, this is not to box myself in a diagnosis, but it's really helping me to understand certain things about how my brain works. There's something that we call rejection sensitive dysphoria, which means that we're ultra sensitive to the rejection of others, and it can result in us seeing things through a certain lens. So if I think that I said or did something wrong, I will ruminate on it for a very long time. And it might be the smallest thing. My team member yesterday, actually, Sarah, who's here, I had an experience of that yesterday. We were on this call and Sarah was like, Audra, I want to celebrate. Like, this is amazing. There's so many people who signed up. I want to celebrate your growth. And I said to her, you know, what's really, the truth is that every time, like, we're doing this launch process and it's gradually growing and all of that. And I got off the call and I was like, I hope she knows I received, because I know the energetic reciprocity. I hope she knows I received that compliment. Oh, I hope she doesn't feel like I didn't fully accept that. I hope that she doesn't feel put off, like she's new on the team. Like, I went into this loop because I was going into the rejection sensitive dysphoria and the magnification of like me saying one little word. So I messaged her and was like, hey, just want to check in. Just wanted you to know I thank you so much. It was the smallest thing, but I know that I can magnify little things to be a big thing. And the easiest way when you do this in your life is just to ask for the clarification. And sometimes it's the clarification from another person, but sometimes it's also the clarification from somebody outside the situation or clarification with the universe. So if you ever find you're magnifying something, find a trusted friend and say, are you able to help me see this with a bit of perspective? And see if they're willing to hold a conversation with you, right? It might be something happening in your life. It might be a rejection from somebody that you want to go on a date with. They might see the other thought patterns that are unhelpful. It's like, let's look at that. And then the thing I really like to do, and this is my favorite, is to actually ask the universe or spirit, whatever word you use, for the higher vision, the higher understanding. Because one of the things they tell me is that there's truth and there's higher truth. So something in front of you can be objectively true, but there might be a higher truth that you're also being shown. And we just sometimes need to ask to see it and be open to the messages and the answer. One of the things that can happen, that's probably one of the most unhelpful cognitive distortions, is that of emotional reasoning, where our emotions will drive our experience of the world. Now, tomorrow, when we talk about emotions and energy within day 2 of the masterclass, we'll understand the vibrational frequency, but right now we're going to talk even just from a mental aspect. A cognitive distortion of emotional reasoning, where it's like, this is what I think, or this is what I feel, therefore it is, right? So an example is, I feel embarrassed, therefore I'm an idiot, right? That was a quote that I saw somewhere. I don't think that of anybody, or I don't feel that of myself. But when we feel something, we think that it means something about us. Or when we feel something, we think it means it's true. So this happens a lot in relationships. Sometimes when I'm working with people in relationships, they feel the energy's off, or they feel hurt. So they think, therefore, that means that the relationship is falling apart. It might not be the case at all. So watch your emotions and understand your emotions. Once again, a gateway to is gratitude. And then finally, the last thing that we sometimes do in cognitive distortions is we label things. We create a label and we say, this is that. We like to stick a label on things, and we will sometimes, this happens a lot when we actually use labels for ourselves, right? I'm this or I'm that. And it can work like, if it's like, you didn't win that competition, well, I'm a loser. No, you just didn't win that competition. You didn't win that race, right? So again, just watching the language around the labeling. So a deeper question of how to overcome all of these. First of all, take a deep breath and notice what came up for you in this. Good. And again, we are looking at it with curiosity, not judgment. Beautiful. All right. So how do we overcome cognitive distortions? Well, awareness is the first step. Curiosity and wonder. Doing the deeper healing work. And another thing I just wanted to note as well, that's important for overcoming these, both in the moment and in your greater healing journey, is nervous system regulation. Being able to calm your nervous system, to be able to sit in the moment and get curious about what the actual truth is. So, for example, in the brain, our brain is a magical organ. There's something called the amygdala. The amygdala is a little almond-shaped part of the brain. That's why it says amygdala. But that's a very emotional, that's a response that's in the more primal part of our brain that has us respond emotionally, has us respond very quickly, right? And has us kind of in these loops and patterns where the rest of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, will try to make sense of things in order to keep us safe. So one of the best things you can do, and I used to learn that, we used to teach this years ago when I was in Australia, we used to speak to high school students about this fact. And now it's so in the collective consciousness of the power of breath. When your amygdala and when you've suddenly had that moment and there's the emotional rush or the judgment or whatever, is like just to pause and take a deep breath and count to 10, if that helps you. But that in itself, the pause and the breath, allows us not to just be in that reactive of the response. A few other things you can do. Some of you who have studied nervous system regulation, vagal toning, that sort of thing, even a little bit of a rock can help. A bit of physical touch can help. It connects us into ourself. Sometimes I will even tap in and I'll just say, I am safe. Safe to explore this part of my mind. I'm safe to explore that maybe there's something else that's true here other than what I think. I'm going to get curious about it. Some people are also putting in the chat grounding techniques. EFT tapping can be really helpful. All of these things. These are kind of like bigger things that you can do on your journey of healing. But remember, we are all healing. I'm healing. I use these tools. I notice these distortions. I do this work, right? So as we start to heal ourselves at the cognitive level of how our mind works, that allows us to start working with the energies of the universe, because this is the foundational stuff. The alignment of belief and thought, the alignment of our energy, the alignment of our actions, all of those come into an energetic resonance that allows for manifestation to come a lot more easily and a lot faster and a lot more aligned with what's actually going to be for your highest and greatest good. Because the cool thing about doing this inner work around the healing of these stories is not only does it make it easier to manifest the things you really want, it also means that you're more in alignment with your true self. You're not wearing this heavy coat of these old stories or these layers of what people have told you how to think or how to be. You are actually being who you truly are, and you're shifting part of yourself, which is a really big deal. And it does take a bit of work, and there can be a bit of discomfort in the process. So it's important to acknowledge this fact and to be kind to yourself in the process, right? So today was all about the mind. It was the foundations. We talked about alignment of belief, of energy, of action. There were all sorts of different things I wove through there. We talked about what you want to manifest, why you want to manifest it, some of the things that might bring into your life. We talked about the deeper beliefs around manifesting that thing and what you might believe about people who have it. Then we went into some cognitive distortions, right? So there's a lot here around the mind and around the thoughts. When we start to work tomorrow with energy, you're going to understand how the thoughts become energy. There's energetic impulses. And this is the stuff I get so excited about, because energy and spirit and the universe, like I feel like I've really come into a knowing of how to work with this now. Before, a lot of things used to be by accident. And like accidentally manifesting things is great, but I've gotten a lot more clear on how to do it, which is why those manifestations like Gold Mountain and Tuscany are happening in such a short period of time. So I'm going to share some of those keys with you. And as you care for yourself tonight, I want to invite you that as you do this work, journal and pay attention right now, because I believe the universe is speaking to you right now, that there's a reason you're here, that there might be certain things that start to pop up in your world now in the next 24 hours before the next masterclass, where you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that person just texted me. Or all of a sudden, that thing I wanted to manifest is showing up. Maybe it's because you were challenging that underlying belief, making the shift, and already the energy is in alignment. Because I'm going to share with you, especially on day 3, a big story of a huge shift that I made in my life that just kind of went boom, and it almost like put me on a different timeline, and things rippled so quick because I made that one minor adjustment. And that can happen to you in your life. So I want you to be curious and open to the possibility, but also notice the cognitive distortions of you being like, this never happens for me. Why is it easy for everyone else, right? So yeah. I hope you're feeling good. How are we feeling? I'd love you to pop in the chat a word or two of how you're feeling. I would love for you as well, if you feel called, put in the chat a few words about your experience today, if you're open to us sharing it, because I want this masterclass to get to as many people as possible, because I really believe it's going to be of great service to a lot of people. Because when we do this work, we start to heal ourselves and we start to ripple that out into the rest of the world. I would love for you to invite a friend. The Stardust Masterclass link, Sarah, even if you can put the regular sign-up link in, send it to a friend, get somebody to come on day 2. Even if they missed day 1, they could catch the replay another time, like get them to come to day 2. If you go on my Instagram, there is a giveaway. So people often ask how they can work with me. Most of my work right now is group programs, which I absolutely love. And to put the focus there, I'm not doing as much one-on-one. But there are some opportunities to work one-on-one, which I give away in a prize. So if you go, you'll see this one on Instagram. There's a giveaway. If you share Stardust, you can be entered into the draw to a one-on-one manifestation activation session with me. And then for those of the other one-on-one work I do is more really deep dive embodied leadership, which includes like a private retreat, a 6-month container, and really working with people who are bringing their service to the world so it can have maximum impact and ripple out. If you're interested in that, you can email us at the hello@Copper Lighthouse, or you can see it on my main website. And then what else I want to tell you? Oh, yes. Share on Instagram, replays. I'm going to send the replay out in just a couple hours. So if you want to watch it again, you certainly can. Make sure you invite other people if they want to join. The draw will be, I will do the giveaway draw on Friday live on this call. So you have until Friday to share. You can check all of the information in here. It actually tells you like how you can win. So that's on my Instagram. You can pop that link to Sarah if you don't mind. And then finally, the last thing I just wanted to say, this is really important. Though who here follows the moon? If you're like, some of you came from Chris Corsini, you've done like the moon workshops, right? A new moon is coming. How cool is it that we are almost at the new moon? The new moon is happening on Saturday, but I want you to know something important. If you observe the moon, this is not necessarily the time to manifest right now. This is what we call the dark moon phase, which is right before the new moon. So it is actually the end of the last lunar cycle where things might be cleared out. Maybe it's some of those old belief patterns we're healing. Like you can still do some work around manifestation, but that big, I'm setting my manifestation, I'm directing the energy, the things we're going to talk about on day 2 and 3. I want you to allow yourself to hold back until the new moon, if it feels aligned. I mean, do what you want, but hold back till the new moon. And on the new moon, that's a really great day to actually put that into action, to direct the energy, to set your intention. When I booked this masterclass, I didn't even realize the lunar phases at the time. And now I can see why they said this is the time, because you're learning over 3 days how to manifest this way. And then on day 4, which is the new moon, you'll be able to do a ritual or ceremony or set your intentions. And I'm going to show you some ways to do that. For very last announcement, really important for those that are in the Golden Path. Now, the Golden Path is my 8-week group program that starts on October 25th. If you're in the Golden Path, there is a special new moon ceremony that we're going to do as a group at 4 o'clock on Saturday in the energy of the new moon. So if you're in the Golden Path, please hold that date. For those who are interested in the Golden Path, I'll share a little bit more about it tomorrow in case it resonates for you. But either way, try to create some time on Saturday for that work. Chris Corsini also does a new moon workshop. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about working with that energy. So yeah, I think that's it for today. How are we doing? We did well on time. That was pretty much 90 minutes exactly. So if you have questions, Sarah's been noting questions for me, and I won't be doing a Q&A right now, but there will be a live Q&A that I'm going to announce that'll happen after Stardust. So come tomorrow, join us live if you can, invite a friend. We're going to do Stardust 2 more days, and then there will be an opportunity for me to answer all your questions, but I have a feeling a lot of them might be answered as we go, okay? So I hope that this was helpful for you. I appreciate and love you so much. I'm going to invite us to take one last deep breath together. Connecting in with the heart, maybe closing your eyes. And I want you to think about maybe something that you learned today about yourself, about energy, about the universe, about your mind. And in the energy of reciprocity, because this is going to start the energetic flow for you, I just want you to say thank you to the universe. Thank you to your higher self for allowing you to receive that message. Because the thank you, the gratitude, is a gateway to so much more. And with that, my friends, thank you for today. I will see you tomorrow for day 2 of Stardust. I'm beyond excited to share with you. Please share. If you do share on Instagram, feel free to tag me, copper_lighthouse. We'd love to see it. And I'm just so grateful for all of you being here. So sending you so much love.